Welcome back to another live CSEC class, and this morning we're going to be plotting quadratic equations on graphs, so plotting quadratic graphs. We have done this before. It is something that requires practice, especially if you're just starting to do the topic. So I decided to do another one for you. So we're going to be using some quadratic functions from some simple ones, some simple functions, and then some more complicated ones. So we'll get right into that in a second. All right, so here we So let's say we have the quadratic function y equals 2x squared. And the domain is -2 to 2. So what we'll do is we'll set out our table. Give me a second, please. We'll set out our table, and remember, for the quadratic, we're going to need to list all the values for x. So from -2 down to 2, not just 3 points like in the linear. So we need -2, we need -1, we need 0, we need 1, and we need 2. And the function is 2x squared, so we're going to start with the x squared, and then we're going to put 2x squared to get our y values. All right, so let me use a different ink just to show the difference here. So we're going to square the x values. So -2 squared is +4, -1 squared is 1, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4. And we're going to multiply these by 2 because it says 2 times the x squared. So 2 4s 8, 2 1s 2, 2 0 0, 2 1s 2, 2 4s 8. And since that's all we're doing, we're not adding or subtracting anything more from it. So we just rewrite this as the y values because that's all it said. Square the x's, multiply them by 2. So now we're going to plot this on the coordinate plane. So we're going to have our y-axis, and since all the values are positive, I'm going to draw my x-axis further down here. Since I don't need the negative y-axis, all my y values are positive. So I can decide where I draw my x-axis or my y-axis for that matter. So it's a matter of looking at the numbers you're working with and shifting the axis or shifting the focus of the axis. So here we have 0 0. So on the x we'll have 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. Good morning, Khalid. Just turn your camera on, please, and join the live class. Morning. Turn your camera on and log on to the live class. All right, so on the y-axis, our biggest y value is 8. I'm going to go by 2. We have a -2 here just to show it. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, so now let's plot. So -2 on the x to 8 on the y. On the x, by the way, let us name our axis. That's the x-axis. This is the y-axis. So -2 on the x, and then we go up from there up to 8 on the y. -1 on the x to 2 on the y. So -1 to 2. 0 to 0, so that's right there at the center. 1 on the x to 2 on the y, so 1 to 2, and 2 on the x, 8 on the y, so 2 up to 8. And then it's a curve, it's a parabola, so we're going to take our time and connect. Don't use a rule. Take your time and freehand you connect your curve. So drawing it on graph paper to look much neater than this, of course. Lot of estimating and stuff like that. So I would write my function plus 2x squared. All right, so let's look at another. We're going to look at another function. Just take a minute and soak that in. Take a minute to absorb what we just did. Let me hear if you have any questions. All right, so let's start another one. So let's say we have y equals negative 3x squared. We're going to add something to it this time. We're going to say negative 3x squared plus 6x. And the domain is from negative 3 to positive 3. So from negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to have our x squared. So we start with our x squared. Then we're going to have the minus 3x squared and 6x. And that will give us our y values. So squaring these x values, negative 3 squared is 9, negative 2 squared 4, negative 1 squared is 1, and we repeat these. Now we're going to multiply these by negative 3. So negative 3 times 9, that's negative 27. Negative 3 times 4, that's negative 12. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And we go back to the x's now, and we're going to multiply the x's by 6. So 6 to 3, that's negative 18. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. 6 times negative 1, negative 6. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 to 12. And 6 is 18. So you notice these numbers here are negative because we're multiplying negative numbers by a positive 6. So we'll get negative numbers here. And over here, we're multiplying positive numbers by a positive 6. So the answers here will be positive. So we're going to come down the column now. But how do we decide where we're going to start? We start at row that the equation started at negative 3x squared. So this is where we start. Right? So this row starts here. So negative 27 minus 18, that's negative 45. And negative 12 minus 12 is negative 24. Negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. Negative 12 plus 12 is 0. And negative 20 plus 18, that's negative 9. So now we're going to plot. we have mainly negative values. The only positive value is 3, and it's, you know, it's not a big number. So we can draw our axis, our x-axis further up here to enable us to get our negative 45. All right, so let's go by 5. So this would be a positive 5. And we have negative 5, negative 10, negative 15, negative 20, negative 25, barely made it. Negative 45, we barely made it. And on this axis, which is this axis here, the x-axis, and that's our y-axis. So it's from negative 3 to 3. So 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So it's negative 3 on the x to negative 45. So negative 3 and down from there to negative 45. Negative 2 to negative 24. So 2 down to negative 24. Negative 1 down to negative 9. So that's negative 1 down to negative 9. 0 to 0. So that's here. 1 to 3. So positive 1 on the x up to positive 3. Positive 2 to 0. So back down to 0 here for the 2. And positive 3 to negative 9. So positive 3 down to negative 9. And it's a quadratic, so we're not going to use any ruler. We're not using any ruler, so we're taking our free hand and connecting. And yours will not look lumpy like mine. I'm going to erase that again. Okay. So all right, so let's take our time. We don't want it to be lumpy. I'm very good at this in real life, see? All right, so that looks better. All right, and then we would write our equation. So that would be y equals negative 3x squared plus 6. All right, so take that in. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, so students are saying I'm lagging. All right. I'm not sure what's causing the lagging. I'm trying to sort it out as we right, so since we're having that session on this, let me try and sort out lagging.